we think of this new big three in Phoenix?
It's all right. It's all right. I mean, I'm not sold on it. I'm certainly not Kendrick Perkins. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. The best team in the NBA. I don't want to hear that. No, I'm not. You got to.
With the NBA season officially coming to a close a little bit over a week ago, the Phoenix Suns decided to start the offseason with an absolute bang by making the blockbuster trade for one of the league's better all-star level players. The Suns struck a deal with the Washington Wizards in which they received Bradley Beal, along with guard Jordan Goodwin and forward Isaiah Todd. And in exchange, the Wizards landed the point god himself, Chris Paul, along with Landry Shamet, a handful of second-round picks, and multiple pick swaps. And when looking at this trade at face value, the first thing that comes to mind is, man, the rich just got richer. Adding a player like Bradley Beal to a team that already has Devin Booker and Kevin Durant is absolutely insane. And that's in large part due to the fact that the Suns already had two of the league's 10 best scorers on their roster. And now they're going to add Bradley Beal, who was another absolute scoring machine. And it just seems like nobody in the entire league is going to have enough offensive firepower to match that onslaught. And in reality, there's some truth to that line of thinking. We've seen big threes over the past few years that look to be forces of nature, and we felt as if they were going to absolutely light up scoreboards on any team they played. But I think there's more to this trade than just the Phoenix Suns getting Bradley Beal and running the table. There are obvious positives when you get a player of his caliber, but when really looking into the details, there's also quite a few negatives. So let's talk about them. But before I get into the video, I do have a few things to ask of y'all. If you can go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, I have my goal of getting 500 plus subscribers. In the next 2 or 3 months, I'm getting closer, so every single subscription helps. So you can like, subscribe, comment. That would really go a long way for me and for this channel. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So let's first focus on the positive things about the trade. It's Bradley Beal.
Oh, come on! You gotta admit this is cool!
Beal is a 3-time All-Star, has been named 3rd team All-NBA. From 2020 through 2021, he did average 31 points a game on 47% shooting and 35% from 3 on 7 attempts. And during that stretch, he was the league's 2nd leading scorer in back-to-back years, coming up short only behind James Harden and Steph Curry. The guy is an absolute bucket. And his scoring has been shown to have impact, as he did lead the Wizards to the playoffs in 2021. Albeit, they did get beaten 5 games versus the Sixers, but Beal played really well, where he averaged 30 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and he did have back-to-back 33-point games to open up the series. So if absolutely nothing else, the Suns did gain a talented and consistent scoring option that can work to bury teams in terms of shot making next to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. All 3 of those guys are excellent 3-level scorers. They can stretch out a defense. They're excellent slashers who can create off the dribble, and they don't rely solely on jump shooting. And as great as all that sounds, those are really all the good things I have to say about that trade. Because honestly, I do not like this trade at all.
I don't like that shit. For sure, bro. I don't like that shit.
I didn't like it when the idea of the trade was rumored to be happening, and I like it even less when it materialized and the details were given out about the trade. Now make no mistake, all the good things I said about Beal, I do believe to be true. He is a very good player, and these critiques are no shots at him in particular. My criticism, rather, is with the Suns organization and why they would make such a bad trade. We know the new Suns owner Matt Ishbia has been hyper-aggressive when it comes to making moves for the team since he took over in February of this year, where 3 days into his tenure as a new owner, he traded away a king's ransom to get Kevin Durant, which I wasn't the biggest fan of that trade for reasons similar to why I don't like this Beal trade, but it's Kevin Durant. While I may not fully agree, I 100% understand. But now, to give up even more picks and more players for Bradley Beal just 4 months later, it just seems crazy. Because even with more players traded from that roster, the Suns have lost something that has been proven time and time again to be invaluable. Having a deep roster with a wide array of skills and talents has shown to be absolutely pivotal, and you don't need to look any further than this year's finals to see that in action. The Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat are both very deep teams that we saw throughout the entirety of the playoffs, where if a star player or players were having an off night, there were plenty of guys who could pick up the slack and piece together a win. And this is something that the Suns won't have moving forward with the way their roster is presently constructed. At the moment, the only players the Suns have under contract are Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, and Bradley Beal. And to make matters worse, the four of those players combined will make a grand total of $162,866,661 next year alone, which is more than what 24 teams in the entire league paid their entire roster.
$1 million? And who you think you kidnapped, Chelsea Clinton?
And with such a high payout for those four players, the best the Suns can do moving forward is either sign additional guys to mid-level exception deals, or they'll have to bring guys in and sign them to veteran minimums. And the NBA is a business. More times than not, if you pay high, you'll get a high-quality player. But if you pay low, which is all Phoenix can afford to do right now, well, you're going to get what you paid for. So with Phoenix trading for Beal, they really have put themselves in a tough spot financially. Yet, strangely enough, Bradley Beal signed off on this.
What do you mean? Hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean?
See, with Bradley Beal having a no-trade clause in Washington, he was allowed to not only avoid being traded without his consent, but he was able to pick the team in which he would be traded to, and he could sign off on the package he was to be traded for. And that's odd, seeing as how I know that he knew the Suns weren't going to have anything left once they traded for him. Now, the only way this could make sense is if it was communicated to him that the Suns had plans to trade DeAndre Ayton at a later date. It's no secret that DeAndre Ayton has been unhappy with the Phoenix Suns for some time now. And while most of that can be attributed to his run-ins with former coach Monty Williams, I think it's safe to assume that he's still not happy there. Ayton has been a solid to good NBA center, but with the amount of money he's owed, $32,459,438 next season, and the lack of depth the Suns have, it would really be best to trade him. If the Suns could pull this off, they would really be playing 4D chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And if they could trade Ayton for probably an athletic two-way wing, a point guard who can defend and run an offense, some more outside shooting, and or another big man who can rim protect, then they'd really be onto something. Now, I doubt they get all that at once just for DeAndre Ayton, but getting 2 or 3 of those things would be a major relief for them. So we've talked about what makes this trade bad financially, but there's another reason that I really don't like this trade. I don't think this big three fits well together for the simple fact that they don't have any skills that complement one another very well. None of them are really good playmakers. Granted, Booker has shown that he's capable of being a lead ball handler and distributing the basketball and getting guys open, but for the most part, that's not his game. And it's really not Kevin or Bradley's either. They could do a point guard by committee type of deal where they all take the responsibility to an extent, but let's be real. How reliable is that? They're also not great defenders. Kevin and Devin have proven to be fringe good defenders at moments, but for the most part, they're really just positive defenders. And Beal is a solid, but nothing great defensively. And like we saw with the big three Brooklyn Nets, offense is great, and let's be honest, it's the most important thing on the court. But if you can't guard anybody, you're in for a world of trouble. You can't out-offense everybody all the time. Then you look at how KD, Book, and Beal play on the court, and they mostly play the same-ish type of way. So overall, I don't see this team playing well off one another due to the lack of diversity in skill sets. And I could see this being made a bigger issue later down the road, especially in the postseason, if no major moves are made. Not to mention that injuries might also cripple this team, as both Beal and Durant have proven in the past few seasons to be injury prone, where Beal has played at only 63% of possible games and Durant 58% of possible games over the past 2 years. So overall, what do I think about this team? Well, unless they trade Ayton or get guys knocking down their door to take small contracts just so they can say they played with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, I don't see Phoenix winning a title or even winning the West. They'll make the playoffs because they're way too talented not to do that, but due to their glaring limitations, I don't see this team making a deep playoff run. And it's for those reasons that I think this was a bad trade. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, if you agree, if you disagree, if you think the trade was a good trade, bad trade, or you kind of have mixed feelings about it. Comment down below what your thoughts are. And until next time, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.